the recording, so people who cannot make it now, they can listen to it later on, to presentation, which is good. Okay, maybe we should start. It's about 2 minutes past 2 o'clock, and I would like to welcome you all to the this National Engineering Month presentation. And the very first presentation, as far as London is concerned, is being done by the AV-based WinAir. And I really thank them for this presentation. And I welcome you all once again. So I would like to turn this meeting to Christopher or WinAir. Christopher, or whoever is going to coordinate.
Okay.
Oh, Charlotte. Yeah. Charlotte, can you unmute?
Sorry. So my name is Charlotte Kruger and I'm with WinAir. And we're going to take you through a high-level view of what we do in WinAir. So just before I start, a couple of housekeeping rules. Jane is going to turn off your microphones and your videos just for the duration of the presentation. And after, when we get to the question section, then she's going to turn everybody on again. If you are experiencing any technical difficulties, please send a private chat to Jane and she will try to help you out with that. So without further ado, I'm going to start with our presentation. So it's going to be a virtual technology visit for you today. And we are going to show you how we help and improve aircraft engineers' use of technology. So as we said, welcome to our presentation, and I'm quickly going to do an introduction of myself and one of my colleagues, Aaron Scully. And I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough about what WinAir is, how aircraft engineers use WinAir, then our latest versions and our dashboards. Then Aaron is going to do a demonstration for you actually of our software and how it works on a high level. Then we're going to look at some of our client testimonials, a quick overview of how we're responding to the COVID situation and how we've expanded to work remotely, and then resources and how you can contact us if you're interested in anything more. And then we've got a question period. We will open up everything for you, and you're more than welcome to ask any question. If we have to go back to the presentation, we can do that. If you want Aaron to show more on our actual software, we can do that as well. So as I said, my name is Charlotte Kruger. So I'm a business analyst, and I've been a business analyst for more than 20 years, the last 7 of which was with WinAir. And I assist with a lot of different things with WinAir. So I'm involved in some of the new developments. I've also done implementations for our customers when they take on the new software or the upgrade, literally all over the world. And I'm also very involved in our user conferences that we have biannually. And we do one here in London and one down in Australia. So co-hosting with me today is Aaron Scully. So he's a technical advisor at WinAir, and he recently joined our company in 2020. But long before that, he was a technical trainer at Thai Aviation, which is one of our customers. So he's got a lot of practical experience in using our software. And over and above that, Aaron is also a qualified aircraft maintenance engineer. So he comes with a wealth of knowledge on the practical side of what we're trying to assist engineers with in developing our software. And then also Aaron is fluent in English, French, Spanish, and Burmese. So if you want to ask a question in any of those languages, Aaron's going to be the man to answer that for you. So firstly, we're going to look at WinAir. So WinAir is first and foremost a compliance software system. So it's actually been designed by an aircraft engineer that was working on the hangar floor. So way back in 1988, an aircraft engineer was a manager for a hangar and had a lot of people working for him, had to deal with all of the paper that was flowing between the various people and between the compliance side for aircraft airworthiness. And in that, it bore this whole idea of making this a more simple process and streamlining it for people who doesn't really like doing paperwork. So around that, him and his wife started developing this software that today we know as WinAir. So the software is based around how people functionally work in the hangar space, and it kind of mimics the workflow that was there before people had the luxury of electronic record keeping. So WinAir is a company that is literally used worldwide. So we have, as you can see on your screen, some airlines, some charter flight companies. We have a couple of flight schools that use our software. We've got helicopter operations, people that work in the oil industry, law enforcement, military and government. We've got a lot of camo organizations that use us, and then the MROs, which is the maintenance and repair and overhaul. And then the two in the bottom makes up the majority of our customers. So the aerial wildfire suppression operations and the medevac. So the reason why we are so popular with those specific types of operations is just the way that WinAir is always ready and up to date for any unpredictable kind of situation that those operators experience. So WinAir as a product has various components to it. So these all work together to make one cohesive maintenance system for the aircraft industry. So we've got a section for administration, which typically takes care of all of the settings for some of your data storage, some of your personnel items, and some of the settings that makes our system customizable to the specific workflow within an organization. Then we've got the maintenance, which is by far the most used section. That is where the aircraft maintenance engineers actually spend the most of their time. That is also the crux around which everything else has been built. Then we've got inventory. So we've got a very well-developed inventory system to manage all of the parts that the engineers use on the hangar floor. So this includes everything from procurement right down to the stock counting at the end. We also have an accounting module. So the accounting module deals with all the payables, and it also has interfaces into some of the more common financial applications. So we've got APIs speaking to Great Plains, QuickBooks, those kind of things, and the data gets exported straight from WinAir into those accounting systems. We've also got a reliability module. So this is getting more and more prevalent that people want reliability data on the components that's used on aircraft. And from the manufacturer's perspective, they want data back from all of the users of their components to determine the interval that is required for the maintenance on some of those components. Then we've got a fully fledged parts sales module. You can do anything from part quotes up to the actual shipping of the parts. So that's for people that sell parts. We have a lot of customers that are intermediaries and get parts directly from Bell and then resell those. And then we've got our dashboards, which gives you a snapshot of the business And I'll get into that a little bit more later on in the presentation. So we're quickly going to step through how the engineers uses WinAir. And WinAir is designed, as I said, for people that don't really like working with paper. WinAir has an automated workflow to a large extent so that engineers has to give the minimum input to make this work. So kind of things that they do is they complete their tasks. So when Aaron does his presentation, he'll kind of show you, we've got templates where you only set up some of the stuff once, and that gets pushed through to production. So the engineer will get the task card already completed with all the work steps that they need, and it gives them all of the details and all of the links to the maintenance manuals that they need to reference when they're completing a task. Also, straight from the task, they can request the parts that they need. So if it wasn't set up in your template and there's anything additional that they need, they can do the request straight from their task card without navigating anywhere else. Also on their task card, they can see the state of the inventory of what they asking for, so they can immediately determine whether this is going to be a problem, whether the task might have to be postponed, or whether they can just go straight to the stores room and pick the part up. So as I said there, so templates gives you the opportunity to manage multiple things simultaneously. So we're going to look at a quick little overview video that just kind of shows how we do the maintenance.
How do you organize your fleet maintenance programs? Easily build maintenance schedule templates directly into WinAir. Create visibility and take control of your aircraft compliance data. Utilize one template for each aircraft type and track an unlimited number of aircraft. Even the most complex aircraft can be managed in WinAir. A template is an electronic depiction of an aircraft maintenance manual, displaying zones, positions, components, and component tasks of all required compliance items applicable to an aircraft type. Aircraft templates are built based on the model and version utilizing the maintenance manual. Enter an unlimited number of flight log inputs and counters. Build or edit custom complex counters in real time. Easily manage component and task applicability by aircraft. Build airframe and component tasks based on aircraft compliance requirements. Easily manage your maintenance program by configuring block or phased checks. Take control of service bulletins, airworthiness directives, and revisions. Manage your fleet with WinAir and take control of your aircraft maintenance program in one centralized location. Contact us today for a customized demo of WinAir.
So that gives you like a little bit of an overview, just like what WinAir is about and how complex some of the things are that we are doing. So I am quickly going to take you through our latest version and just quickly talk around some of that. So the latest version of WinAir is called WinAir 7. So initially WinAir started out as a DOS application, then moved over to a DBase application, and currently WinAir 7 is a fully web browser-based application. So we are constantly moving people over. So some of our customers that's still on the older applications, we are constantly moving them over and bringing them on board into WinAir version 7. So WinAir version 7 has a lot of automated workflow in it. On the inventory side, there's like predefined ways that customers can set how parts flow, and that makes that the workflow is predetermined for people and they kind of know where it's going to be. It is also queue-based for them. So depending on which hat you wear in your organization, you can always see a little queue of basically a to-do list. The other big advantage for us for WinAir 7 being browser-based or web-based is that it is totally transportable. So engineers that work in different places in the field that's not in a hangar for the helicopters, or even if they work in a hangar and they have to go into confined spaces, the trend nowadays is that people have iPads and they have Microsoft Surfaces, and the application runs 100% on those portable devices. So WinAir is portable, going anywhere that you want to. So WinAir's got different configurations depending on the needs of our customers. So at the bottom there, you can see all of our available packages. So we've got an operator package that is mainly for aircraft operators. We've got a HeliOps package that has some more complex stuff in, because the counters on a helicopter is typically more complex than just a fixed wing aircraft. We've got an MRO package. So these are the people that fix the aircraft only, so they don't operate as well. So they get other customers' aircraft in and fix that. So their requirements obviously is a bit different than if you were the owner or the lessor of an aircraft. Then we've got the camo package for your compliance management. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got a fully fledged parts sales package for people that do parts sales. Inventory only for people that only has a requirement to manage inventory through WinAir. And then we've got our flagship one, which is the all-inclusive package that gives you just access to everything that we have to offer. So part of WinAir 7, which was a big improvement for everybody in our customer base, is the addition of dashboards. So dashboards is a place where people can customize a snapshot of their whole organization. And this is fully customizable for each user. I can choose different backgrounds. I can choose the gadgets or the widgets that I want to see on my specific dashboard. And managers of the whole hangar typically set up these so that they can see all of the statistics for a specific aircraft. So a dashboard can have different pages, and you can set up a page for each aircraft, or if you want to slice and dice these differently, each gadget can be configured differently. So for example, on the inventory side, if I am interested in my outstanding PEOs, I can look at a subsection of those if that is what I am responsible for. For the manager of inventory, he can do that and look at the whole area and see what is outstanding. The same for the engineers, because they typically get assigned an aircraft. They will set up their dashboards to look at the statistics, the tasks, and the readiness of that specific aircraft. So this is widely used, and it's used from people just using it on their laptops to have a quick view of what's happening. It gets used a lot in management meetings where people have a quick snapshot of seeing where things are going in terms of certain maintenance. And then it also gets used on the hangar floor where a television is put up and technicians can actually see the progress of what they are busy working on at the moment. So we're going to do a quick little video again, just showing you what the options are on dashboards. So that just gave you a quick overview of how the dashboard works and what you can expect to see when you look at a WinAir dashboard. I am going to be handing over to my colleague Erin now, and Erin's going to take you through our actual application and just show you a couple of interesting things from there. And then it's going to come back to me just to do our COVID response and a couple of last thoughts there.
Hi, so I'm Aaron Scally. Recently joined WinAir as a technical advisor assisting with documentation, sales engineering, and advising on future development. Prior to joining WinAir, I worked as a helicopter mechanic and crew chief and technical trainer, most recently working in Thailand with Thai Aviation Services in the southern Gulf of Thailand area, where we operated 10 medium and heavy helicopters for offshore oil transport, taking staff out to the platforms. And WinAir was implemented by us back in 2016 as our compliance engine to to make sure that we were recording and complying maintenance as accurately as possible. So I have had the opportunity to use WinAir as an engineer and, or I should say as a maintenance engineer, and in order to support and train other employees as well when I was with Thai Aviation Service. So today, it's noteworthy as well that, as Charlotte was indicating, Bert and Helen Vigir, who were the founders of the company, who are still very actively involved. Bert is an aircraft maintenance engineer as well, and was inducted into the Maintenance Engineer Hall of Fame back in 2019 for a great deal for his work in supporting the industry through this program. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here and show you a brief demonstration of the program. We have a pretty brief time for me to be able to take you through and show you some of the key elements. So much like aviation, we're going to do this from 30,000 feet above and fairly quickly, but at least we'll get a bit of a chance to see some of the interface. So I'm already logged in, and just as a bit of an indicator, it tells me right up in the top of the screen here that I'm logged in as the administrator. As Charlotte was describing, the program is broken down into logical pieces based on job function. So although I'm logged in as the administrator and will have access to everything and can pretty much wear every hat here, depending on the username and permission, they would see a different reduced amount of options within the program based on their actual job duties. No matter where we go within WinAir, we have quick access to a go-to menu with all of the other sections of the program available. And again, it's broken down into our accounting administration, our dashboards area, which we'll loop back around and talk about in a few minutes here, a fully integrated inventory system. Maintenance, of course, where my aircraft maintenance engineers are going to be working and resolving tasks, a reliability area, and we talked briefly about parts sales as well. Also quickly accessed from here is our reporting area. So there's reports for each area of the program, and again, those are broken down for easy access. We also have easy access to our inventory system, DI, detailed inventory. I'll take you briefly there. Help, so that we can access help immediately from the program. So today, what we're really going to focus on in my part of the demonstration is just the maintenance area. And the maintenance area is broken down, as you can see, into production, where our engineers would be working, our records area, where we would be updating the technical records for the aircraft. The planning area, where planners would be able to forecast and send tasks over to our production area for the engineer to be able to carry out. And again, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the presentation, our programs area, where a template can be built in order to be able to handle the tasks that are required for an aircraft. I'm going to jump back across to production and we'll start there. As we said, the program really started off with maintenance tasks. The task card and the necessity, both for operators and regulators, to have a detailed, traceable, and repeatable way of recording maintenance was the major driver behind the initial creation of the program. Of course, it's expanded significantly since then. If an engineer receives an aircraft back into the hangar and needs to record a task, they can begin, as Charlotte described, it's queue-based. So when I arrive at the production index, it tells me that I have a number of in progress, deferred, and the ability to create a new task right from here. If I head up to the tasks area, again, I'll be able to create a new task or view any outstanding tasks that are already there. I'll just open up one of the existing ones here. And we'll take a look. The task card is broken down into areas where we can describe the task, codifiers for where that task belongs to on the aircraft, what sort of defect, date that it occurred on, and the ability to create a corrective action. Now, these task cards are printable. If I just hit the print button for a second here, we can see what a PDF copy of the task card would look like. So this task card has all of the information that was transferred from the electronic copy and does provide a signature area so that these tasks can be signed off, which is a legal requirement with many of the all of the regulators that we work with, whether it be Transport Canada, the FAA, or what have you. So as I said, that it's an easy process for an engineer to go in here and create a new task card for a new defect when the aircraft shows back up at the hangar and there's something currently wrong with it. They can go through the process of choosing a work order to apply that to, and it'll generate a new task card, much like the one that we just took a look at. However, in here, we can see as well that there are a whole bunch of tasks that are already in. Let me just hit refresh here for a second. There are a whole bunch of tasks that are already posted into this production area. All of these are the scheduled tasks for the aircraft. And by scheduled task, what I mean is that every aircraft will have its own maintenance program, basically a list of all those things that need to be complied with, either by date, by landings, by the number of starts carried out on the aircraft, the number of flights, etc. So as I said, what we're looking at now, I've just filtered this. We've got now scheduled tasks. So I'll take a look at, for instance, this scheduled task right here. So the scheduled task here, it tells me when it's supposed to be carried out. So as I said, there's a schedule based behind these ones, and the rest of the task card looks very similar. Before we jump across and take a look at the templates area that generates these scheduled tasks, let me just talk as well. When it comes to certifying the tasks, you'll see that there's an authenticate button on the digital copy of the task card right here. So if an operator is interested in going paperless, this is actually our solution for digital signatures, so that the signature for a particular task can be digitally signed, password controlled. This particular procedure will dramatically reduce the amount of actual paperwork handling that needs to be carried out within an organization. And that can realize both time savings and reduce the environmental footprint by decreasing the amount of paper that's being generated on a regular basis. So that's our task card. Let me just jump across here for a second and we'll take a look at our programs. We will come back to tasks again in a moment, but from our programs area, programs you can see also contains tasks, but what these tasks are here are all of the tasks for a particular aircraft type. So this is the entire, basically a digital copy of the requirements section of the maintenance manual, listing anything that's a scheduled maintenance check or a life limitation on a particular part that's installed to the aircraft. So you can think of these basically as a set of rubber stamps that creates a task card for the particular inspection that we are required to carry out. These tasks here are not applied just to a single aircraft, but if I jump over into templates here and take a look, our templates, particular for this helicopter here, is applied to 2 different aircraft. And we can continue to add additional aircraft into that so that that one template, rather than having to create a set of schedules for one aircraft, we create a single schedule and can apply it to multiple aircrafts. Again, this is a way to gain a tremendous amount of efficiency for the operator. So how do schedules get updated for the particular tasks that are due on the aircraft? Well, each aircraft template will have a set of inputs, flight log inputs, whether it be hours, landings, engine cycles, what have you, that are recorded as the aircraft is operating. And those will translate into counters for either the airframe or for individual components that are installed onto the aircraft. And when I say individual components installed onto the aircraft, I'm just going to take you into a template tree view for a moment here. The template tree view, the aircraft is broken down into a series of different physical zones. If I took a look into the upper deck and engines area, you can see that there's a whole number of positions, and each one of those positions has a maintenance program that's associated with it. Why this is important within aviation is these parts may be removed at some point in the life of the airframe, may go out and be overhauled or repaired, and then returned either to this operator or to another operator. So these need to live an independent but related life to the aircraft, where they accumulate hours and cycles from the aircraft, but all of that information will travel with that component and subcomponents as it moves either within the aircraft fleet of an organization or moves outside due to, as I said, overhauls or repairs or what have you. I'm going to just jump back into our production and tasks section again here. And as I said, every section of the program, we have the ability to access our detailed inventory. And that detailed inventory is tied directly to the tasks that we're carrying out. So that whether I'm generating a new task for an unscheduled failure when an aircraft comes back into the hangar, or whether I am carrying out a scheduled inspection, I have the ability to add in parts and tools as necessary. So taking a look at this particular task, if it required a calibrated tool, I have the ability to click Add Calibrated Tool from here, and I could search through my existing stores inventory, particularly filtered for calibrated tools here, and I can select the part number and serial number of the tool. Apparently, I don't have any of these currently in this database that are certified. So this is actually preventing me from using a non-calibrated tool as well. Additionally, as I said, we have the ability to add parts. Because we have a fully integrated inventory system, I can add a required part to this task, search through my existing inventory, add the number of required parts, save it, and here as the maintainer, without having to go to the stores department, I can see whether those parts are actually available. In this case, telling me that they are in fact ready to issue. So I could go down the hangar and go to my stores department and get these issued for my task. So I'm ready to be able to carry out this work if that's the only thing that's required. So that is our parts integration, being able to add required parts directly to the task. The last thing that I'll talk about is dashboards. So as we saw in the previous video, we do have a quick ability to access directly from our go-to menu, the dashboard. And in particular, the dashboard that I pulled up here for us to take a look at. Sorry, my screen is misbehaving a little bit. let's jump to dashboard. There we go. So in particular, this dashboard shows me two particular things: our aircraft flight readiness and our inventory status parts queues. So this would be a good, again, central, kiosk location in the hangar where we could have a display of the flight readiness of our fleet, where, again, this is color-coded, sort of stop sign fashion. What aircraft, those that are green would be indicating that they are ready for dispatch. Aircraft that are red would indicate that they have outstanding tasks that need to be carried out before it can be dispatched. And then anything that's either in maintenance complete, which is another indicator within the program that a QA process needs to be carried out, or any deferred inspections. Again, inventory will do the same sort of thing for me, where if I were an inventory person and wanted to see what sorts of parts I needed to action at the moment, this is a very good visual indicator of how many parts are ready to be issued. 243, it's going to be a busy day for the stores department. 413 that are sitting awaiting purchase orders, and 551 that are requiring transfers. And of course, smaller ones available in here. And this does have legends so that we can drill down to what each one of the different colored bars mean. I'm going to stop share at the moment, and we'll head back over to Charlotte. And if there's some questions about this, we can loop back around during the question and answer session later on.
Thank you, Aaron. That was great to just walk through the application and actually see what it does, and to see it in action. So as I said in the beginning of the presentation, WinAir started out in 1988. So WinAir has been around for more than 30 years. And during that time, obviously, we had some customers that really like what they're using. So some of the customers that we have today has been with us since day dot. And obviously, they have databases with data that is so large, and they've got history going back for so many years. But they are really happy customers. They like the way that WinAir works, the ease of use, and that it makes their processes streamlined. So we're just going to take a quick look at some of our customer testimonials. So the first one that we're going to look at is Delta Helicopters. So they are out of Alberta, and they provide a wide range of services. So they have got some sightseeing services. They also do wire line moves and almost anything in between. So one of those operations, again, that needs to be ready at the drop of a hat, and heavily reliant on WinAir to provide them that ability to be ready when called upon. One of our other customers, and one of our customers that runs physically the largest aircraft, is National Airlines out of Florida. So National Airlines flies internationally with bases all over the world. They are carrier for goods, and they also do some passenger carrying work. And they were very happy with the way that they can manage their large A380-200s, the Boeing 757s and the 747s using WinAir in their operation. One of our other happy customers is Calm Air. So Calm Air is a regional airline out of Winnipeg in Manitoba, and they fly up north. Also very challenging circumstances going up there. But for them, they have built all of their company processes around how WinAir works, and they continue to do that consistently, improving and making changes so that all of their processes are kind of in line with what WinAir terms as best practices. And just to show the vast kind of array of customers that we have, from the nationals with the big Boeings. We also have customers like Northright Air that is out of the Northwest Territories and based way up in Norman Wells. And they fly float planes and also doing something of everything. So they do passengers, they do cargo, and they fly float planes all up in the northern area. So a quick overview of what we've been doing as a company with the whole COVID situation. So before the whole COVID hit, WinAir was already working remotely to a large extent. As I mentioned previously, we have customers all over the world. So with all the time differences between the various areas in the world, it has always been important for WinAir to be able to work remotely. But for giving a week, the whole last year, we have moved all of our operations 100% remote, and everybody is working from home at the moment. So our customer service, our technical support, all of those services have moved to be 100% remote. The other thing that we moved to be remote is our WinAir User Summits. So as I mentioned earlier, biannually we have a WinAir User Summit, and that gives us the opportunity to showcase some of the improvements that we're making. It also gives us the opportunity to get feedback from customers and get their input on our development initiatives. That makes sure that we are keeping in line with what the latest requirements out on the hangar floor is, and that we're keeping in touch with the changing world that people are experiencing out there. So previously we had 2 user summits when it was in-person summits. So we had one in London and Ontario every second year, and then one in Brisbane down in Australia. So last year, as I said, we moved everything online. So from September to December, we didn't have a week-long summit for all of our users, and our user summits were spread out from September to December, and we just had another one yesterday where we actually provide these events where our customers can come together and we showcase some of the stuff that we're working on. The other thing that we've done fully remote since the COVID pandemic started is that we moved all of our implementations to be remote. Previously, we would send trainers to all of our customers when they were implementing our software, or when they were doing an upgrade from one of our previous versions into version 7. And the main idea of having a person on site is just to refresh the people's knowledge of WinAir, because even though they get a lot of training upfront, it is a fairly large and complex system. So people do tend to forget, and it is so easy to look at somebody else using the system, whilst it's something totally different if you are actually the person that is working with the software. So we used to send trainers there, but now what happened is we are doing all of these implementations remotely, and it is working really well for us. It has actually been really successful dealing with all of our customers and doing the remote implementations. I think I missed a screen here, so I just quickly want to go back. So just back on the summit, apologies for that. So the kind of topics that we did on our summits in this last September to December is we looked at exploring online resources. So tying in with our response to COVID is we moved all of our release notes to be digital. So we are doing videos to assist our customers and showing them all the enhancements that we are making and how they should be using it, and what our recommended use of the functionalities are. We have done some changes to administration. So for people that's familiar with some of the airline regulations, so the engineers, the licenses expire and there's certain requirements for them to work on an airport. So there's yearly drug tests and stuff like that. So we have made significant enhancements to our qualification and training and other personnel requirements modules. So we showcased that. We looked at some of our maintenance enhancements and some new features that we did on the maintenance side. So that relates to automating some of our workflow, even more than what it is done currently in the system. So there's a lot of automatic scheduling, like Erin showed you in our application. So we've got the record section that has a schedule according to which the maintenance needs to be done. So some of our enhancements is in automating some of those requirements there. Then we've got some developments that is still ongoing on resource management. So that is anything from hangar space planning to the actual engineers and having the right skills for the right tasks that is coming in the planning section to make sure that all those people and the resources are there and available when we need to do that task. So there's a way in WinAir that you can break down all of the work steps that rolls up into one big task, and the skills for those work steps are on the side where we have to make sure that we've got, say, a mechanical engineer or a electrician or an avionics person, and that all needs to be scheduled so that they're available at the right time when they need to do their part of the maintenance. We've also got a new section that we're working on for our MRO customers. So the people that are actually doing maintenance on other people's aircraft, so that they can do quoting based on certain parameters. So depending on the type of contract, the type of maintenance that they will be performing, and so that it's an ease of use thing for them. So not to have to redo all of those quotes each and every time, but pulling from a similar template and putting together a quote with minimal effort. And the last one has to do with improving inventory management. So keeping up with the times, we always try to improve what we have and give some new functions. So we've got some new developments in the pipeline, building on our existing barcode scanning technologies and making the management of your inventory much easier by using these technologies. So the implementations I've talked about. Next, I'm just going to show you a couple of resources. So if you're interested in contacting us or learning more about WinAir, you can visit our website there, quite easy, winair.ca. You can also sign up for our newsletter on our website. So it comes out once a month with some really interesting aviation tidbits. And then we're also on social media. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram. Oh, I missed another thing on the customer testimonial. So I just want to go back to that. And then I'm going to open it up for the panel so everybody can ask questions.
It's an integrated software platform that is used to
provide maintenance, inventory, financial support to our airline operation.
WinAir to me is a great way to keep track of everything we have going on with our maintenance. I track a lot of the things individually. We don't have a very large department, so being able to see everything there, have it detailed and at my fingertips and accessible at all times really makes my life easier, you know, when it comes to things like that, because I have so many roles to be doing in a day. So
WinAir is integral to what I do on a daily basis. WinAir gives me the ability to see an overview of everything I need to see. It gives me the ability to do my job, which is planning extremely well.
When the time came to do transitions, WinAir was right there with us every step of the way for as smooth a transition that one could possibly have.
It gives the ability to do more things from more places, on more platforms, without the restrictions of having to have specific software. And it really does make a difference in my role. I do a lot more work from home now. I do a lot more work on the road now that I would never have been able to do before.
it's extremely user-friendly and it's just very easy to use. You don't need a lot of knowledge with computers or technology or anything like that. It's laid out very easily, and as long as you know what you're looking for, the answer will be there.
And this is an important thing about WinAir is they don't just release it and say, here you go. They're with you every step of the way. Here it is in a sandbox. You go play with it. Give us the feedback. Let's look at it together. It's a relationship that WinAir provides.
I do recommend WinAir to others. When they ask the question, what do you use? I tell them that it's a very all-encompassing product, and I highly recommend you use it to its extent. I know companies, some don't use the inventory side, some don't use the record side. I highly recommend they use the whole product. We still don't have all the modules. We've just recently added reliability, so we're still learning where that's going to go. But the product itself, the more you use, the more of it you want to use. And I think the more of it that you use, the easier your job will become. The integration between inventory and maintenance really does give you a bigger picture view of everything that you're doing, from compliance status of individual components to your cost of doing business. Being able to invoice all your aircraft, all your side shop work, all that stuff really does give you a good picture of where you're at and what you're doing.
It's that relationship that WinAir wants with its customer, with its user. And they share information back and forth to get an end product that is the best that it can be.
We run an air ambulance company. We're saving people's lives. So AOG to some companies might mean that, they don't have a scheduled flight, but AOG to us means that, we literally may not be able to make it into community to save somebody's life. So it's very different for us because AOG is the deciding factor on whether somebody who has a heart attack in the middle of nowhere lives or not.
Oh, so that was just some testimonials of some of our customers. So I'm going to go back to how to contact us. So if you want to learn anything more about us, all of our details are on the screen right now. So if you want to contact us and get to know more about our company. So if you want to schedule a meeting with us, you can use the details on your screen as well. So you can visit our website, you can call us, or you can send an email to info@WinAir. So we're going to open up the floor and just take any questions that you might have for us. So be it on the application itself, on our company. If you want to know more about what we do, please feel free to ask your questions now.
Charlotte, this is George. May I
Hi.
ask you a question?
Sure.
I know you have a subscription business model.
Yes.
Okay, now how did COVID-19 impact certainly it impacted your industry. How about your company? How do you deal with these issues? Some of your clients might be having problems perhaps.
Yes, so that's very true, George. So for us, we've been helping our customers as far as possible for the ones that does have financial problems, and there are special arrangements in place for those people. Also, a lot of our customers has had the opposite experience because we have a lot of people that do charter flights and stuff like that. It is actually for them been a very lucrative time in this COVID situation because they've taken over a lot of the flights of the mainstream airlines. So we've got both spectrums, but financially we are assisting people that are struggling through this time.
Question, how about the number of the people? Did you keep the number of the people employed, or how that impacted you? Do you get any subsidy from the government of Canada?
I can speak to the subsidy, but our people, we are fully employed at the moment. So we have not had any loss of personnel through this. We are actually have more work because we're doing the remote implementations and everything remotely. It has actually upped all of our workload, and we actually employed people in this time.
Excellent. Are you looking for additional people, or you are okay?
I think at this point in time, we don't have any openings. I know we've recently appointed a couple of new people to fill some of our gaps, but I don't think at the moment we've got any openings. But if there's people that's interested, we're always looking for good resumes.
Okay, thank you. I'll leave it to the other people to ask questions. Okay.
Any other questions from anybody?
If nobody else wants to ask, I have a number of the questions, if you don't mind. Because I worked with Helen and Bert since 1990. They were down in Lambeth before, and there were only, I think, 3 or 4 people in the company. Now you are around 50 people, am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's nice to see.
Yes.
And and the last project that there was number of the projects that were supported for NRC IRAP. I don't know if you are familiar with that.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, good. Are you having at the moment any additional projects that you are looking at the moment as far as the enhancements are concerned?
Yes, so we've got a couple ongoing at the moment, George. So we typically have 4 streams of development going at any given point in time. So because we've got 4 senior developers that actually kind of leads all of those initiatives. So there's always the large projects that spans quite a long period of time. So we have anything from 6 to 12 months and some even longer. So we try to break those down into more bite-sized chunks and release some of those phases. So as I referred to for some of the maintenance enhancements, we've got some stuff where we're putting in some automation. So we've released phase 1, but there's still 4 phases to go. So we've got a lot of stuff like that on the go at the moment. And we've also, in terms of the IRAP, there's a couple of projects that we're looking at the moment. And one of the main things ones that we are looking at the moment is the reliability. So like I touched on, there's a huge drive from the various manufacturers of some of the components and some of the airframes to actually get reliability data out of the industry so that they can adapt the maintenance periods for some of their components and some of the items on the airframe. And they're moving a lot towards more on demand kind of maintenance, or extending the maintenance from what it is at the moment. So one of the projects that we are specifically considering for that is on the reliability side.
Oh, that's a good timing now. As you know, fiscal year for IRAP is April 1st until March 31st.
Yes.
Tell me, do you have any contact with IRAP, any particular person at the moment?
I honestly can't answer you that. I don't know if Jane perhaps knows. I don't know. I have not had any contact with the person specifically.
I think we can help you with that, okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Sorry.
Right.
Just there's a question in chat there for you, Charlotte. If you just read that one from Murray.
Improve maintenance of project reliability. So we don't have any specific AI or machine learning. So what we're doing at the moment is kind of building it into our workflow. So it is code driven. So it's not necessarily AI or machine learning per se, no. We would love to go that way, but we're still in the infancy stages. And we've got some of our operators that we're actually just getting off paper. We're doing the implementation for one at the moment that is coming from a straight paper-based system and a lot coming off Excel. So I think we're still a little bit off from doing actual AI in our environment. Any other questions that you'd like to ask us? Anything on the application?
I have a question.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce your name right, but Jacob, you can go, and then Russ.
Yeah, you can call Jacob.
Jacob. Oh, okay. That sounds like my son. Okay, that's easy for me.
Yeah. Thank you for a nice presentation and a very valuable information. It is not something in my field, but generally asking some questions regarding the scale of your work, whether all the aviations across the globe, do they need your service? And also, is it costly to use your service for them?
So, well, yes, they need our service because we're the best in the field for some things that we do. So all over the globe, there's different regulators that regulate how and what they need to do. So WinAir is very customizable in that sense. So you can customize what you're doing and what you're tracking and how you're doing it and the sign-offs that you can use for the specific regulators. So, as I showed you in some of the packages, very scalable. So depending on what your needs are, so we literally have customers with 5 aircraft, and we've got customers with more than 50 aircraft that they're tracking on a single application. So yes, definitely needed, definitely everywhere in the world. And as I say, very scalable to whatever the people want and the people need. So the last part of your question.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking that, is it very much costly for the
cost? So that is, as I said, very scalable. So it depends on exactly the configuration that you have. And that's why we've got all the different configurations. And we have what we call features and bundles. So if any one of those features or any one of the bundles that's not in your base package appeals to you, you can add that to your subscription. So we have a lot of customers that have customized packages. So they put together the functions that they actually need. So, but we do, that packages that I showed you, we do sell the basic, just a core standard. So if that's kind of within what your company needs, that's kind of what you're going to get. But as I say, there's a lot of add-ons that you can do, up to the all-inclusive. So that's the one part of the cost. And the other part of the cost relates to the number of sessions. So once again, very scalable to your organization. So you pay for each session that gets used, and that customers typically determine how many sessions they will need, because not everybody is working in WinAir simultaneously. So it's typically way less than the number of people that you have using WinAir. So you've got a couple of people that's consistently in there, typically in the stores, or the records people that's looking at the quality, making sure that all the compliance information is in there. But like the aircraft engineers, they're not in WinAir the whole time. So they typically have shared sessions, and people then scale the business and buy the number of sessions that they require for the organization.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
I
Russ?
believe Russ had a question.
Yeah.
There are some questions in the chat.
Chat. Yep. So Russ, did you have a question still, or did your question get answered? Oh, we must have answered this question. Okay, well, Charlotte reads over the chat questions. I'm going to send out the poll. That gives her a minute just to read those over. So there's a poll going out for everybody to answer, if they could, please.
So Bryden, I can have Aaron show you the dashboards again. So it depends on the specific gadget that you're in there, but a lot of those, like he showed you the queues, so those are all linked links that you can click on, and that will open up all of the tasks. So you can drill down into there, and for that aircraft, you can see all of the tasks. If there's a part number, serial number involved, it will show you all of that. So it depends on the various gadgets. So some have more detail than what others have, and some have less details than what others have. It depends on what it was developed for mainly. So as I said, we have those user summits, and we heavily rely on our customers to kind of tell us what they need out in the field. So a lot of these were done from a management perspective, so that it can just give them a high level overview. But like Erin is showing you there, some of them are actually down. You can drill down into the details. Same on the inventory side, you can go to PO level from the actual gadgets. You just find the chat again.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. I think that answers most of what I was asking.
Okay. How does inventory updated for various industry systems, and how to know if some systems are out of date and need update? Oh, Iram, you will have to explain a little bit to me what that means in terms of for the various industry systems. So our system is a customized system, so it's an in-house system. So we develop all of this, and we keep up to date with the industry in terms of, as I said, with our customer summits. And we do projects, obviously we do analysis. So that's the area that I am in. So we do analysis and look at other systems that's out there, other industry leaders, even though they might not be in the aviation industry. We look at those and we kind of customize that to suit the requirements of our specific customers. So I don't know if that is exactly what you're asking. So, but you're welcome to switch on your microphone and kind of explain if I'm not understanding that question correct.
It's hi Charlotte.
Hi.
So my question is specifically about like this software seems to have like such a big database. So is it so whatever models are currently being used in the industry? So is that data coming from this database, or you guys, or we have to, if we have to use this software for particular industry, so we have to maintain that database manually?
So you have to maintain it. So, but if you buy the software, we have a take on whole procedure. And so we import data out of existing systems. And we have certain things like the templates that Aaron showed. Those are templates that is available to purchase. So people purchase those, but anything subsequent, once it's in your database, then you have to maintain that. So just to step back a little bit, so each customer has their own database. So there's not one central database out of which everybody works. So each customer has their own database. So they get their own installation and they set up their own database and maintain their own database. So when we do the implementation, like on the inventory side, we will set it up with all the part numbers that they have in their existing system, and we will bring that on for them. But anything that comes along after that, they have to add themselves. So it's extremely simplistic and people pick it up really fast. But you still have to do that because in the aviation industry specifically, the part numbers change. There's things that get discontinued. There's new things that come out. And so they have to be able to maintain that. So they typically have the stores people doing all of that. But yes, we do have take on like a whole system to take on data out of existing systems at the moment.
Thank you. That answered my question. So one more question. So I know that I'm the field I am working in. So I have like background of electronics engineering. So that has like if inventory is being set up, so its data sheet should be associated and things will go from there. So I can understand like how the linking could happen and how to maintain the inventory in that case. Thank you, that helps a lot, and I'm looking forward to use the software maybe. So is it freely available on trial basis?
It depends on whether you're a customer that's interested in buying that. So, but the videos that I showed you, that is available for you to view. And if you'd like a demonstration, like a more personalized kind of thing, then like on our contact details, if you just contact through there and then somebody can set that up with you.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte.
Okay, you're welcome. So Adam is asking, one level down from AI or machine learning, do you apply predictive maintenance functionality either by airframe engine hours or by empathy? Yes, so 100%. So the forecasting section that Aaron showed you, that is 100% what that does. So there's a lot of functionality in there. You can actually set that up in various ways to predict what's going to happen. So for our people that does the firefighting and stuff like that, they actually manipulate the data because they know during certain periods they don't fly a lot. So it actually, you can change the average hours that it flies. So typically we calculate on average hours, but you can manipulate the average hours to say during a certain period you're actually flying more or you're expecting to fly more. Or for these people like the firefighting people, they know during wintertime they don't do hardly any flying. That's their maintenance time. So at that point in time, they take those numbers and they manipulate it down to 0.1 or 0.2, and that will then forecast their maintenance for them. So it's interactive in the sense that we also have some reports, and that integrates into the flight ops systems. So we've got APIs feeding into the flight ops systems. So depending on the maintenance that's been completed, there's a function to calculate the next maintenance that's coming due on each of the aircraft counters. So like Aaron showed you for the helicopter, there's quite a number of counters. So those counters are either on the component or the airframe. So depending on what maintenance has been done, it gives you a small forecast, and that gets uploaded to the ops system so that the pilot can look at that and determine how many flight hours, how many landings, how many cycles they still have left. So yes, that we definitely do. You're welcome if that answered the question. So is anybody else that wanted to ask a question?
Hi, I have a question, and you had mentioned it. It's very good. This is excellent. A very interesting presentation. Do you have customers that also perhaps look to the functionality in your software for other large pieces of equipment or maintenance beyond just aircraft?
Oh, yes. So we've got a lot of our customers use ground service equipment. So that's anything from water jets to tugs that pull the aircraft out. So those they also manage in WinAir. So we've got some customers. We've got one customer that flies Chinooks. So they have forklifts to work on these Chinooks. So they also have templates for those forklifts and for the water cannons and stuff like that. So yes, they can totally manage that in WinAir as well using the template structure that we have.
Oh, very interesting. Thank you.
Ground-based flight trainers as well fall into that same category. There's companies that are using it to track all of the maintenance requirements for those flight simulation equipment.
Excellent.
Other questions? If there's no other questions, then I would really like to thank everybody for your participation today, for the very good questions. It's really nice if you do a presentation and people actually ask you some questions afterwards. It's nice for us to share our company and what we do because we're very passionate about what we do. So it's very nice for us to show you. I know this is not 100% in everybody's field, but we really appreciate the opportunity that we were given by the Professional Engineers Ontario London chapter and the Ontario Society of Professional Engineers to give you a little peek into our world.
Thank you, Charlotte. If I may say here, on behalf of the PEO London chapter, National Engineering Month, Society of Professional Engineers, we really appreciate, giving us your presentation, taking the time. And specifically, I would like to thank Charlotte, Aaron, Jane, Christine, and John. It was very insightful presentation for us. So as you know, you are in transportation industry. So today we spoke about the software and the application in aircraft maintenance. But next week, on Thursday, it's going to be another presentation about transportation ZTR. They are dealing mainly with the ground transportation locomotives, like Canadian National, Canadian Pacific, some others as well. So it's going to be a very interesting presentation. So once again, from the National Engineering Month, I really appreciate your presentation. It's very insightful and stimulating, actually. And it's good for me to know what's happening within WinAir. I'm glad that actually COVID-19 didn't impact you negatively. So you are still, maintaining that good business, in your sector, which is nice to hear.
Well,
once again, to all participants, thank you very much for coming. Really, this is your sector, your profession, and keep it, just in a good standard, which is great. Okay, anybody else wants to mention anything? If not,
Thank you very much, George.
Thank you,
George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All the best. Stay safe and healthy. So
Thank you.
I
Hey,
think
George.
we finished on time. Is Sarah here or?
I am here.
Sarah, thank you very much.